Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and my family and I are huge fans of the Disney parks. That was a shot of my daughter in front of the Matterhorn, and we absolutely love Disney treats. Now today I'm trying out a copycat recipe that I will link down in the description box below. Now truthfully, I've never had a Matterhorn Macaroon. There's just so many treats to try in the parks that I've just never gotten around to it. And my husband isn't a huge fan of coconut, so we usually bypass it, but I've always wanted to try it. Now from everything that I've read, this recipe is very, very close to the real thing. But when I'm reading through this, it actually sounds more kind of like a shortbread cookie mixed with coconut because there's no egg white in this or condensed milk, which is usually the key components to a macaroon. But I must admit that the recipe's pictures look very, very close to the pictures of the actual macaroons from the park. And I make mine look a little bit different. As you noticed before, I did put in a little bit of black food coloring, but the actual macaroons that they sell in the park are just the natural coconut color with a little bit of browning, and then on top they have the white chocolate. But I want to make this look a little bit more like the actual Matterhorn ride. I followed the recipe fairly closely. The only thing is I omitted the almond extract because my husband really does not like that. And I also put in the coconut without processing it first. The reason that I guess they ask you to process it is so that it's kind of nice and fine and you don't actually see the flakes. But I'm going to airbrush this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm sure it also changes the texture a little bit as well, and you'll get more of a coconut bite. Let me know down in the comments below, do you guys stick to recipes super closely, or do you add your little spin to it right off the bat? There are absolutely no fondant components whatsoever on the Matterhorn Macaroon, but I decided just to add a few little things here and there. If you've never been to the Disney parks before, they have something fun there called Hidden Mickeys, where basically they have little Mickey Mouse shapes all over the park in various ways. Sometimes they're very big, sometimes they're small, sometimes they're hidden on rides, so I decided to put our little Mickey on this Matterhorn Macaroon. Though I must say it's not very hidden, it's pretty much in plain sight. The recipe does recommend using candy melts, and I will say aesthetically, if you do want super white chocolate, candy melts are the way to go. But I wanted a really tasty chocolate, so I decided to go with Lindt, which is one of my favorites. Now I knew that the food coloring wouldn't come shining through super clearly, but doing that allows me to only airbrush very lightly, so I don't have to fill in every single gap. I am using a silvery airbrush today, but you could also use gray if you want to make it look like this too. And go ahead and dip the tops of this into the white chocolate. And you'll notice that I didn't really direct my airbrush towards the tip because I knew that I'd be covering it with this white chocolate here. And it does turn out a little bit more ivory, and this is obviously where that candy melt would come in handy. The Matterhorn ride is very snowy looking, so I'm just adding a little bit more white chocolate here and there with my paintbrush. After transferring these to my favorite Mickey Mouse cake stand, I'm just adding on all those little fondant details. Now you could totally skip this and just serve it as is. I think that the original recipe, as well as the recipe in the parks, adds a little bit more shaved coconut on top, but I'm adding a little bit more icing sugar. My husband and I shared one, and I will say it is very coconutty. So if you're not a fan of coconut, you might not like this, but it has a really nice crumble to it, and it's a little bit chewy at the same time as well. I also really love the addition of the white chocolate, and I think once that white chocolate hardens up completely, that will add a really nice layer to it. I will say though that this is very different to the traditional coconut macaroons that I've had in the past. It's not quite as chewy, and of course that egg white component is missing, so that's to be expected. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!